for us. And it is not like that. Many of the people around you would say that what you're going and doing on Saturday, why do you have to do the stay back? So we have a program which is called as PD, Professional Development of the Teachers. So the school is not only focusing on that what you are teaching to the students, but how you are teaching. They're training there, they're professionally developing their teachers. So there are specific, every Friday we have it, our PD sessions, and then when we have working Saturdays. So these are PD sessions planned by us. In our school also there are a lot of workshop leaders. These days also it is going on with a rotation basis if we are a group of teachers who are attending different.
Hello everyone, this is Shweta Chooramani, your host for the 360 View from Policy to Practice podcast. I'm based out of New Jersey, United States. This season of 360 View focuses on education. Today, we'll be delving into a critical aspect, the importance of high-quality teacher training for effective STEM education. Our mission is to explore how we can bridge the gap between policy and practice in achieving sustainable development goals. In our episode today, we have with us Priyanka Sharma from the reputed Genesis Global School. Genesis School is an international school situated in Noida, Uttar Pradesh, a suburb of Delhi in India. Welcome, Priyanka, to the 360 View podcast.
Thank you, Shweta, for inviting me for the same. I'm glad I'm here and hope that I'll be able to help you whatever way you wanted the information from me and whatever I could suggest through my experience or whatever I've learned till now.
Thank you, Priyanka. Thank you so much. So before we begin, tell us briefly, what do you do at Genesis and how has your teaching journey been so far?
Yeah, my teaching journey has been really good. Being a CBSE student, my education is from a CBSE curriculum. I was a student of Delhi Public School, and then I did my graduation from UP only, Mathura, everything. I did my bachelor's degree in physics, chemistry, maths, and then further I did my master's in mathematics, and then I did B.Ed. Okay, and then after that, for some time, I had been teaching in a convent school for 3.5 years. So that was again a different curriculum, and there also I learned a lot of things. But that was my first this thing. And back at that time, like from 2004, 5, 6, I'm talking about that. At that time, there was not technology that much into the education. So it really changed a lot. And then after, when I got married, I took a break. And after a break, when I joined back, in 2015, when I shifted to Noida and when I joined back Genesis, so here I get to know a different view about the education system, where there was a lot of change, integration of the technology and everything. And then slowly I, learned a lot of things. This was a new curriculum, IB, for me. And then slowly I, went into it. And then what approach they do in the IB, it's the inquiry-based approach. So through experience, then I learned a lot about it. And it's totally different from the other curriculums. It's like that. So I'll talk about it as we move further, that how do we do it in IB, and then it has different stages. I've been working in primary years program only till grade 5. And when I started doing it, I was enjoying it a lot with the kids. Earlier, I used to teach maths and science before my marriage, to the higher kids also, to 9th and 10th, I have taught them. So have a lot of experiences of different subjects, teaching a lot of subjects, math, science, English, everything I teach. And here IB, you get the experience of all the subjects because you have to integrate everything into the themes that I'll talk about in the coming.
Thank you, Priyanka. Your journey has been full of opportunities and been quite fulfilling. For our listeners and personally for me, before we dive into, tell us something about IB, because IB, what is IB system? How is it different from different boards like CBSE, ICSE, and state boards? Because a lot of it's new for a lot of us, and we would love to know about it.
Yes, IB is really, it is International Baccalaureate system that really focuses on the inquiry-based learning. and the conceptual understanding. So there are different aspects of it. IB has its own scope and sequence. Yes, so which all the schools, those who have been following IB, they follow that scope and sequence. And however, it has the liberty that you can totally, adopt it as per as your this. You can adapt it. You can make changes to it, but they have a specific scope and sequence from which we work further. So there are 6 themes into it over the year which we have to cover, and within those themes we have to take the descriptors are given by the IB within those themes. And looking at the descriptor as per the grade level, we take the main idea from those themes, and then we move further our inquiry into it. So, like suppose if I give you an example for a grade 3, we have this where we are in place and time theme. So in this we took the concept of evolution, and it can be then based on anything. So we took, for our grade, we took the evolution of machines. Yes, how it all started and how the machines have evolved over the years and how it has changed, it has impacted human life. So then the key concept remains the same, evolution, which will be taken further into the different subjects. Like music teacher will look into the evolution in music. So the concept remains the same, and if we want to integrate something, the other subject teachers like the music teacher, the dance teachers, they take the concept and then they integrate into it. So this is how it works. And then there are a lot of examples in different themes. So these themes are the knowledge, then we have the key concepts, then we have our 5 skills that we focus on. Thinking skills, research skills, social skills, self-management skills, and communication skills. And they have further sub-skills into it. So that we need to follow. And then the main thing of the IB attribute learner profile that we talk about, that a child has to possess these 10 attributes that we have, IB attributes. So these are thinker, communicator, principled. So these are 10 attributes: communicator, risk taker. And we develop this terminology, and we want our kids to develop these attributes, and then they become, when we say that our kids are international minded kids, so it's not just about that they are studying an international curriculum and they become internationally minded. It's about possessing these 10 attributes that IB focuses on, and through these themes.
Very interesting and very enriching. And definitely this IB curriculum is based on the inquiry-based learning. What are the skills? What are the key concepts? And what exactly is the persona of the student? Which is what are the essential personality traits? It's very interesting. And this is very interesting for us to know that, because we are in the process of designing our PEHL fellowship for rural educators who are into STEM teaching. And as you know, the government schools are usually low resourced. Their resources are low and they can't be compared to international school. But the best practices from these schools can be taken inspiration from and taken from further. So, okay, let's start deep dive into our discussion. And my first question for you is that, in your view, what are the essential components of a high quality teacher training program for STEM education?
So if we talk about focusing on the teaching, it has to be the subject and pedagogical knowledge, planning, learning environment and use of time and resources, the interaction between student and a teacher, looking at the different teaching strategies. And then again, if we talk about developing these skills, when we talk about these 5 skills which we are talking about, and it's also more about, the student engagement and how the student is taking the responsibility of his own learning. And then further, the application of his learning into the real world, making connection like this.
Thank you so much. And what do you think are the crucial hands-on experience and real world application in these programs? For example, do you think traveling to specific events or specific places, like place-based learning, how much contribution does it have for, teachers in terms of building their own capacity?
For the teachers, are you talking about that
Yeah, teachers.
how the teachers develop this?
Yes.
Yes, yes. So the teachers can do it, through various field trips, through various collaboration with different schools. Like in our school, how we do it, we collaborate with different schools. We have NINS, this North India Network of Schools, which organizes job-alike sessions for the teachers. So every time, a school will be hosting it. So many a times we have hosted it. Like recently in January, this December, I went for a jazz session, and there they pick up these different aspects, these different topics. How can we do more differentiation? How can we work on different teaching strategies where, the schools, they share their experiences, they come out with the new strategies. So this sharing and this collaboration really helps a lot. When the schools are sharing with each other, and they have practically applied it also into their classrooms, so sharing about their classroom examples and all that really helps, rather than explaining that this is the strategy, this you can use. How it helps is the practical application of the same, and we share the evidences and the examples, like how we did it, how our kids have responded to it. It really becomes easy for the other person to understand it. And to understand it.
So definitely, this is the era where collaboration, communication, and creativity, like
Yes, yes, yes.
co-creation, is the main thing, as opposed to like a monologue and you becoming the teacher and just doing the dialogue. It's about the real life experiences
Yes, yes.
and
For
sharing.
IB, it's like, yeah, the teacher has to be less speaking and the child has to be more speaking. We just give the guided inquiry and the child has to himself or herself come up with the thing. What we want them, we have to create such a situation that the child is digging and diving deeper into the concept and coming up with the thing on his own. Okay, this is how we describe noun. Like, it's not simply giving them the definition of a noun or giving them the definition of a verb and adjective. Rather than doing it, you plan an activity for them through which they itself learn that what I was doing, okay, I was doing some action, and these action words are called as verbs. So, through this, it is, they are able to retain it for a longer time. They can understand it better rather than learning the definition directly like that. And then the reflections they write on their own. This is the main part. We do not give anything in writing like that. They reflect on their learning on that. So this is how they develop these skills only. Whatever they're learning, they share it. Either they can come and share it verbally, they do it in writing, they do it in pointers, mind map. We have different strategies to have differentiation. So we can talk further about it when we talk about that, how we, plan inclusive classroom. Yeah, like that.
Okay, so definitely writing is a very important skill these days, especially this is the era of content creators, and anything in which you have a deep specialized knowledge needs to go out in the world, be it through a speech, through a writing, through a
Yes,
skit, or through a project. So this is a very handy skill, and it
yes,
seems like the IB system is geared more towards, it's very student centric, like students are the
yes,
center of learning, right?
yes, yes,
So and it's little different from where I studied, like in CBSE, the
yes,
teachers
yes, yes,
used
yes.
to, and everything, we both are from CBSE, the teachers will keep on talking and students will be not given that much of airtime where they can ask questions. So this leads me to my second question, which is like, what are the major challenges faced by current teacher training programs in preparing educators for STEM teaching? Like when you have gone through these trainings, what challenges do you you face when you are receiving training?
It has changed a lot, when we talk about now what I'm getting in IB. And earlier, what we had done in B.Ed, it was more theoretical and all that. Though we had what we had learned, and then we have to apply it and take our lessons and all that. But that time also, it was more of theoretical training that was given. Yes, less of practical. But these days, what workshops, I cannot talk about specifically about other schools, but in IB, we have very, specific workshops for all the concepts that we are covering, like for differentiation, for what are assessments we are planning. And it is all organized by the IB, and then the school has to, and these are very expensive workshops, and the school has to pay for it. Like if 45,000, school is paying for a teacher to train their teachers. So, because many a times these are the specified, the workshop leaders. They have also done it through rigorous training and all that, and then they achieve that thing that they can be a workshop leader, and they go to different schools for train the teachers for the same. So, we have been given a lot of these workshops. So this is how it changes. They do share their examples, they share their strategies, they plan activities for us, how to implement that thing. So this is really helpful. It's not just only the verbal or the theoretical thing. The plan activities, they show it us that how can we apply it into our classroom. So that really helps. And of course, then the role of technology comes here a lot. That really helps a lot.
What do you think? How these programs adequately equipped to address the evolving needs of 21st century learners? Like how satisfied you are with such trainings?
I am very well satisfied with my school, the trainings which I am getting in my school, lot of opportunities for the collaboration with the other schools. Then the leaders in our schools, our coordinators, our heads, they do generally take a lot of sessions for us. And, it is not like that. Many of, the people around you would say that what you're going and doing on Saturday, why do you have to do the stay back? So, we have a program which is called as PD, Professional Development of the Teachers. So, the school is not only focusing on that what you are teaching to the students, but how you are teaching. They're training there. They're professionally developing their teachers. So, there are specific, every Friday we have it, our PD sessions, and then when we have working Saturdays. So, these are PD sessions planned by us. In our school also, there are a lot of workshop leaders. These days also it is going on with a rotation basis if we are a group of teachers who are attending different sessions. So in my school it is happening a lot, which is helping us a lot for our professional development.
So this is in all the training programs that you receive. Just talk to me about some top 2 to 3 practices that are your favorite. That that has really helped you in teaching STEM subjects to students in the classroom.
There are a lot of strategies, and there are a lot of when we talk about there are actually, we call them, what I specifically like is the VTRs, the visual thinking routines. So these are the routines which helps us a lot to, when we want students to reflect on their learning. So there are specific VTRs for every stage, like when we are assessing the prior knowledge of a student, when we want child to gather more information about something. So there are different strategies for it. So there are a lot of practices, there are a lot of things into it, and it is like never ending thing. There are a lot of assessment tools, there are a lot of teaching strategies, and what we do in IBC, we have to use it because we do not have any books. So the main thing is that we plan our own curriculum on our own. And I have to plan my everyday lessons on my own, what I'm going to teach. Looking at the theme, looking at the central idea, we plan our whole unit, that what key concepts I'm going to cover in this unit, what specific skills I'm going to take. There are 5 skills. We cannot focus on every skill, though it is there every time. Thinking is there, communication is there. But what I have to specifically focus on, what my child will learn. specifically. So that skills, how it will go, what type of questions we are going to ask, what will be our planning based on, like, some of the factual questions should be there, which are, fact based. Some of the debatable questions should be there. So it's like this, the whole unit is planned for the same.
This is a very new concept for me. Like, you have no textbook.
Yes, and it will take a
I
lot of time to, we struggle with a lot of things, so it cannot just be explained in 1 or half an hour. There are a lot of things involved into it.
So let me summarize a bit. Like, what I understood is that in an IB curriculum, there are no textbooks. The teacher has the liberty to design the curriculum based on the skills and the content and the conceptual
Yeah,
thematic
the
areas.
IB,
The
the
six
scope and sequence given by
Yeah,
IB.
the
Yes,
scope and sequence
yes,
given by IB, like in the six themes, and it's likely that when you explain a concept, it is not limited to one subject. Simultaneously, you are teaching about science also. You are teaching about English. You
yes,
might
yes,
be teaching
yes,
about music. So this
yes.
brings me to a very interesting question, Priyanka. Is that how do you think the students enjoy this? And have you seen students transition from, let's say, from a regular board to a IB? So how easy or difficult or how interesting or boring was it for them?
Yes, see, when we talk about this now, that integrating different subject into it, it is called as TD learning, transdisciplinary. Like, we have taken one theme and there are a lot of other subjects also integrated into it. Like, suppose if I'm teaching students about, the exploration of the world or the exploration topic, the concept I have taken. So how it all started, the universe, the Big Bang theory and all that. So there how the science has come into it. And if I have to bring English writing into it, then the students can create a report writing on the planets. So before that, I'll have to just make them sure that, I have to make sure that before that I had taught them about that what are the basic steps of report writing. And that's how then English can be integrated. If they are doing a survey of something, suppose we are inquiring into water. So they can do a survey, or we can include the mapping skills. We show them a map and then they look at that, what is the scarcity of the water around the world, and then accordingly they create the data, or we can provide them with the bar graphs. So these are some of the examples through which different subjects can be integrated. This we had to plan beforehand, that if I am doing this, how I am going to integrate math into it, how I am going to integrate English into it. And by the time kids also join it, they also start enjoying it because they are exploring into different areas, and it's more of hands-on learning. They get to do more, so they definitely enjoy it. They are not simply sitting and listening to us. Sometimes for some time it could be, but they have varied resources into it. They have audio visuals, they have different activities to do. If we have to explain them about any system of the body, so we'll plan different activities for them, so that they understand that what is the working of that system, and then they enjoy doing those experiments and activities. And then the reflection is whatever they have learned, a reflection is their own. And here comes, when we talk about that how do kids enjoy it. Sometimes a child might not enjoy it, based on the different learning styles. Some of the students are kinesthetic, some of them are kinesthetic, they learn by doing. Some of them are linguistic, they learn to read, and they love to write a lot, explaining in writing, they would not speak much. So you have to plan activities in such a way so that everybody can do it, or it can be done on a rotation basis, which is called as again it comes as station rotation activities. So 4 different types of activities planned in a classroom, and all the children one by one, in a group, doing and attempting it. So somehow a child who is not able to, or understand it through a reading comprehension, when it will go to a different station, might understand it through looking at the audio visual or by doing an activity. So this helps them, to enjoy the class. This makes them, because if they are not able to do it through one way, they get another way to do it. And they have their, as you talked about, that it is student centered, we use a terminology student agency. It gives students a lot of opportunities to choose their own way to reflect on their learning, how they want to reflect it later on.
Very
So
well
that also provides them this thing, na. They are happy that if I could write 5 points, and I know, see, as a teacher, we have to be involved with the student. Yes, so I know that if a child has written 5 points, or I know that my child, whether some of the children are there who have not been able to write much, but when I had a conversation with them, so I know that they have understood and they have explained it to me. So I basically do not need a test to assess them. There is no marking or test, paper test, pen, paper test system over here in IB. These are called as ongoing assessments, which I am doing daily with the conversation with the children, how they are responding to my questions, how they are asking the questions. So only one day taking a test cannot decide their knowledge. So this is one way. These are all the which I am telling you, like the quizzes we do, and then the general conversations happening in the class. Okay, there are some just a minute sessions. 1 minute we give them and then speak about something. So these are small strategies which help us to do the ongoing assessments. So if we talk about assessments, these are called as formative assessments, which are being done throughout the unit. And then at the end of the unit, we plan a project based assessment for them, which is based on the grasp, where they have a goal, where they are being explained that you have this role to do in this, and you have to design this for an exhibition. Suppose it's a math concept and we want to assess their knowledge about the shapes, 2D and 3D shapes. So we would create a situation like that you are going for an exhibition. You have to create an art piece using the line segments and the angles that you have learned about, create a 2D or a 3D shape and explain what all angles are there and all that, and you're going to put this art piece into the exhibition where your peers and your teachers would be looking at it. And then we have a certain criteria for assessing it. We have a rubric for it. And accordingly, we give grades that the child is meeting our expectations or is still attempting or exceeding. Some of them are exceeding. They go beyond our expectations also. So we have such criteria for the assessments.
This is very, very innovative, and and the one thing that's giving me great satisfaction is that there are no tests and there is no rushing of, learning the concepts. As you rightly said,
Yes.
like some student learn linguistically. I was a linguistic student when I was younger. Now when I look back, I can, put that label
Yes,
that I
yes,
used to write a lot until till the time that I understand the concept. And it's very satisfying to know that when uh, each student has its own learning style. And
yes,
the IB curriculum and the practices the pedagogical practices, inquiry-based learning that you're talking about is all about giving them the time and giving them the way to learn about it. It's not that you
yes,
have to rush and everybody has to pass 90%, or 90 is low these days, I mean 99% marks in a certain
yes, yes,
standardized
yes,
test. So the way in which the teachers are assessing whether my student has understood the concept has also gone very creative. And one thing which I particularly liked when you said use the word student's agency, because a student's agency, the confidence to make those decisions comes, I think, to a large extent by what kind of relationship do they share with their teacher and how much the teacher has the agency. And I think what I'm learning from you is that the teachers have a lot of agency in these kind of setup. They are literally, they have a free way to design as much creatively the way they want to design their curriculum and um, assess the students so that the love for learning is restored with the students.
yes. That is what it is. And we call it choice, voice, ownership, giving the choice, voice, and ownership to the child. and it really helps us. Even if you're planning a learning engagement, it talks about you involve your students. It's, involving your students. Even if I'm planning an assessment, what do you think, what are the, the criteria which should we take when you're creating something? And they come up, you'll be surprised to see that they, kids of young age, they have a lot of curiosity in their mind. And this is what IB is helping them to come up with their curiosity, come up with their, inquiring mindset and all that. They do share a lot of interesting things. And, like recently I should share about it. I had a unit about marketplace. Okay, we were telling them about that, how it all started. And then, the students coming up with such, I'm talking about my grade level, grade 3 level student, coming up with the term economy, supply, demand, with simple examples, sharing with them, and they were able to share it. They were able to draw and they were able to explain it. And then, first we started with that, how it all started. People in early ages, they do not have money. How it all started. So we started with the barter system. So we planned a mock barter activity in the class, and they were just exchanging their items with each other. And how fun it was that there was one child who came up with the tiffin and all the students were towards him. So he said, "Ma'am, see, the demand of my tiffin was more." So, how these terminology then coming into in their mind, and supply, demand. And then at the end of the unit, they had put up a marketplace for which they planned for few days. There was a whole rubric. They prepared their groups, and then what stuff they are going to prepare for their market. So they prepared bookmarks and they prepared greeting cards on the Christmas theme and all that. And whole marketplace was set up. They kept the price for it. They were giving discounts, So this was a practical application of it, and they used the real money for it. And then they
I
understood
wish I was a student in your class, Priyanka.
Yes, and then they understood that what production we did. Ma'am, see our whole production, what we did, we were able to fulfill it. We were able to sell it out. The supply and demand was all equal. On that shop, the demand was more of this thing. We wish we could have. So this is how you have to, work with them and apply, providing them with the opportunities to apply their learning into this.
I am getting a sense that in the IB system, everything is student centric. The student has a lot of agency. The teachers have a lot of agency. There's a lot of room for creativity. And talk to me that how do you ensure, or are there any collaborations that you are seeing between international schools and the other schools in the neighborhood which are not that wealthy, so that there is a knowledge transfer? Because I believe some of the activities that do are also very not everything is expensive. Few activities are very context based and very contextual, and if those pedagogical practices can be adopted by these schools, they can also pick up on some of the best practices. So have you seen any kind of collaboration happening between IB schools and the lesser known schools, and it may be the government schools as well?
Yes. We recently had collaborating with the Delhi Board of Secondary Education Schools, okay? And so we got this opportunity, and we had a collaboration, and we were told that maybe we have to train them because they are adopting the IB curriculum now. They're trying to adopt the way IB works upon. So we had few teachers who came for 2-3 days to our school, and we had a collaboration with them. So they were also really, glad and surprised also to look at the way that we are doing. So that ways they can adapt, okay? They can adapt to those ways, those teaching strategies. The main issues that they were facing were with the resources. Not availability of that much of resources that we had. Yes, we are working in such a school where we are provided with a lot of resources from school, looking at the technology level also. But with them, this was not the case. And also the availability of the teachers. There was just one teacher who is teaching 2-3 grades. So then it becomes a challenge for that teacher to do that much of planning. If they are following IB, they will have to plan the lessons on their own and all that. So for all the grades, everyday planning, and then planning the resources and all that. But we still had a chat with them, and we tried to explain them that yes, but not always looking at the expensive resources, all that, but they can use some of the real life objects, some of the real field trips they could do, which can help students to have that experiential learning. So this was the thing which we got to know when we worked with them.
And how do you plan to integrate technology in what all you do? Because I understand that most of the learning activities are very hands-on. So how do you use technology in making sure the students are digitally literate and they are ready for the future?
Yes, so we do have, ICT lessons also with them and our school is a Microsoft Showcase school, so we have been using all the Microsoft apps with us. The PPTs, the sways. So in their ICT lessons, the kids are learning all that. And when it comes to, told you before about that, how do they reflect on their learning? So again, when they have done a concept or a summative assessment, when they have done, so at that time they have the opportunity to choose the medium on their own. They can either share it in a verbal way, they can prepare a write-up and share it. They can simply share a write-up on a chart paper along with an illustration. They can show something through a comic strip or something, and they can use any digital app, whatever they are using. They can prepare a presentation, PPT presentation. They can prepare a sway. Like these days, our kids are working on their portfolios. So earlier we had these, hard copies of the portfolios. So, but going, not using too much of paper, avoiding the wastage of the paper, we shifted to e-portfolios. So, where our kids are using the Sway of Microsoft, and that's an online tool. So, they learned about that, how to log in into their IDs, and how to create a Sway presentation, how to use a text in that, and how to insert images. So they are writing their reflections of their learning, whatever they're learning in the units and the other subjects, and they are inserting the images of their favorite work into it. So this whole year, they will create like this e-portfolio like this. So technology is integrated everywhere, like into this. When we are doing the quizzes, where it's not just that we do online quizzes also, Kahoot quizzes, like when we have online classes, at that time also, it's not just that we have shared the link. It's that one-to-one, at that time only the quiz is happening together with all the students. So these apps are really helping us a lot. And then kids are also aware of it.
And Pinka, talk to me about little bit about the digital literacy training of the teachers. So like the students are pretty much at par, and it's a Microsoft Showcase school. What does it mean to be a Microsoft Showcase school?
Microsoft Showcase schools means we have adopted the Microsoft, this thing. And then in our school, we are using all the Microsoft tools only. Outlook for emails and all the apps on it. We are trained through Microsoft also, provide training to the teachers. So, and there are a lot of courses in it, which we had done it. So there are a lot of courses into it, which we had done in the beginning, learning about the various tools of Microsoft. They were short courses, how to create a sway or how to create this. So I have also done in the beginning a lot of them. And then we can become an Microsoft innovative expert educator like that by doing all the courses in it. So this is how it is happening. The training is provided to the teachers. We have our whole IT team in the school, who in the beginning when the teachers are joining, although these days every much is pretty, aware about the technology because everywhere it is used now. If we talk about the schools like us. So we are trained for the same.
So the sense I'm getting is that these schools have no dearth of resources, and that's a good problem to have. You have everything that you need, and you have all the know-how to do the things that you want to do. And I can imagine that a certain kind of students come to these schools from a certain background who have no restrictions on the fees that they can afford to pay.
Yes.
Talk to me something about if some of these practices needs to be adopted by, let's say, the government schools of Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, that they are the two priority states for us for the Pahel Fellowship. How do we ensure, like, is there some kind of a partnership that can happen between the government schools and the IB schools? Or do you sometimes come across some policy challenges that hinders such kind of participation or resource sharing?
You're talking about the availability of the resources with the other schools.
Yeah, I'm talking about like how similar things can be done in a low resource setting or government schools, or is there any program that you know of where Ivy League schools are training these low resource government schools?
Yeah. See, I recently talked about the collaboration with the DBSE schools when they are adapting this IB curriculum. So this was a very short, this thing like 2-3 days right now, and we'll see that how it is going further, that how we are going to train them and all that. Of course, we'll have to find out different ways, how they can implement these without having a bit of resources available to the students or the teachers. So how they can have this differentiation within the curriculum all the time, like in the written curriculum, the taught curriculum, and the assessed curriculum. So there are different ways through which they can do it. Like in the written curriculum, when we talk about the content, they can prepare different type of content to have that differentiation. And then the taught curriculum, they can have the different ways of giving instruction to the students. There are different strategies which are not only always requiring the resources and all that. So that ways they can. And then of course there are different ways of assessing the students. You can give any practical thing to a child to do. Yes, which is not requiring much of resources and all that. Yes, and also we can also involve parents. We can have some of the parent workshops for the parents also to understand about this. That's how we do in our school. It's not every time easy to understand that how we are doing, because parents feel that what their kids doing, they are just having a play way learning, they are just doing play. So, but we have to make them, when they come and attend these workshops and they get an idea, then they get to know that this is how they are learning. This is how they can do it. We have been also using these flipped classrooms, where in the beginning when we started with, you can prepare some material for the student, and that can be provided to the student, and then the child can have it, learn it through its own pace, and then can give a cat back to the teacher later on. But again, it involves technology into it.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. So, Priyanka, we are towards the end of our interview. I have just two questions for you. One is that giving all, because you do a lot, and I think as a teacher your contributions are amazing for the foundation literacy and numeracy during the elementary grades, because that's where the students develop the love for science and mathematics.
Yes.
But regardless of everything that you do, what has been some frustrations with your because we all have frustrations. So what have been your frustrations with the way things are, and what will be your recommendation for the national education policy of India?
See, if we talk about, we cannot exactly say frustration. It might be some time, but the challenging thing is when we are talking about, and I had also shared every time, that technology has helped us a lot. Learning things. We have our own app where it is very easy to upload things. In a minute, in a second, we can tell our parents that what the child is doing in the class. Everything is uploaded. Every information is shared. But sometimes it becomes too much also. This online documentation, which the teacher, because if I talk about myself, planning a lot first of all for the students, and then making a record of the same. Recording everything online, and then for us it is it is child centric, and we are not see, if we would have taken a test, I would have checked and given marks, and then that is uploaded on it. But for me, I have to keep a continuous look on the child, that how and we focus on, when we talk about this, the child should be aware of that what a child is learning and why he or she is learning it. If we talk about the high quality teaching learning, it defines a learning environment using the inquiry approach, delving into the what and why of learning, strengthening collaboration, and enjoying while taking responsibility. So then it becomes sometimes a challenge, this online documentation and all that.
And what is one thing that you would like to change about the national education policy of India? This is more of a systemic question at a policy level, like whether you have any recommendations for us.
See, I don't know what recommendation I should give, but I can only suggest, as your this also suggests what you have written into your this thing, that policy into practice. It shouldn't be just about making policies. Like when we are making, we also have different policies for our school, assessment policy, teaching learning policy, and all that. So in generic, I'm talking about whenever we are making a policy, we should think about a child, and we should think about that where the child will be going to apply it. It is just a theoretical thing to be written it, or it is just providing any practical knowledge to the child. Application of the same. Because we also wonder a lot of things, earlier when we have been doing it in our school, and then we are wondering about it, where did I use that? Why I have been learning all those. Like when, I'll give you a short example of the same, when we were learning about these conversion of units. So those small units, decimeter, decameter and all that. Now where are we learning them? We have just learned them, but where are we applying them? Some of them might be applying. I'm just giving a small example. So we should also review our curriculum every time and should focus on the more practical aspect of it, and looking at the skills and the 21st century skills when we talk about looking at the SDG goals, the sustainable development goals that we are working, and we are trying to link them into our curriculum. So how the child will be able to develop that. We should focus on
This is
that much.
profound.
Yeah.
This is very, very ambitious and very, very relevant. Just before we close our session, one last thing. What message would you like to convey to aspiring STEM teachers and those currently working in the field?
Message, what should I say? I would just like to say that learning never ends. We should always focus on learning, collaborating with each other, with other teachers, and as more, whatever learning we could do through different courses, learning should never stop. We should keep on collaborating and, learning through different courses, online platforms and all that. If we have the availability of those resources to enhance and to understand that what a child actually needs, how can we should focus on the child learning. How can I develop those skills into my child? And this is for every teacher, not just a science and a math teacher, that how can I, make my child understand that in a practical way, where the child will be able to apply. So we should give them more real life, examples and opportunities. The situations and the activities, whatever, we should keep on exploring them. The teacher should always keep on researching and learning more about it.
Yeah, no, learning never ends. It's applicable
Yes.
even with us. So thank you so much, Priyanka, for your valuable insights and time. And your expertise has been invaluable to this discussion. And we hope to stay connected and hopefully have you back.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shweta, for inviting me, and thank you for letting me share whatever I had.
No, it
Yes.
is just very illuminating, and we are going to learn and put these insights into our PEHL fellowship. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye.